If you are interested in starting your own podcast, we use Buzzsprout because it is simple and easy to use. Buzzsprout can get your show listed on every major platform while giving you the resources for a great podcast website, audio players that can drop into other websites, detailed analytics to see how people are listening to your podcast, and tools to promote your episodes. Podcasting isn't hard when you have the right partners, and that is why over 100,000 podcasters are already subscribed to Buzzsprout to get their message out to the world. Following the link in our episode descriptions lets Buzzsprout know that we sent you. So in return, you will receive a $20 Amazon gift card from Buzzsprout while signing up for a paid plan. Most importantly, every subscription through our link is always appreciated and helps support our show so we can continue delivering the quality content that you guys listen to. That being said, back to the show.
Hello and welcome to Comic Book Junkies. I'm Andrew.
This is Joe.
And as promised, we were cooking up something special for you. We have return guests. Well, if you're new here, you don't know them. But if you're returning, we have Ted and Juan back on just to chop it up with us today. Nothing really on the docket other than talking books. So yeah, welcome them back. It's awesome to finally get you guys on the same call. And let's have a fun one today.
Hell, thanks for having me.
Yeah. What do you mean nothing special? It's two special guests on the docket.
Yeah, I don't care what Burger
itself,
says
right?
about you guys. You know,
You got me there.
Yeah.
That's all right. I don't mind.
Is this the first time you two have talked?
Yes, I think maybe we were quickly introduced at an event, but
My wedding, maybe?
It was the wedding.
yeah.
Yep.
I don't think we had a super long conversation.
That was
Anyway.
very short. You said that
Yeah.
guy's ugly. I'm not talking to him.
Yeah.
I was like, that's cool. I get it. I got a face for radio. I get it.
Right. Well, pleasure to talk with you finally. And
Yeah, same here.
yeah, comic book sense.
No book talk though. So, did you guys start collecting at the same time?
Late 80s, early 90s.
Oh, mine would have been early 80s.
Okay, so a little bit.
Yep, early 80s.
I had comics, but I wasn't actively collecting.
Yeah, with my paper up money, I was collecting as early as I could. It was early 80s. I was just scrounging up enough money to get a couple books.
Yeah. The books that I had in that time frame would have just been like gifts from grandparents from flea markets or whatever, like when you could pick up quarter books and shit like that.
Yeah, way to go. Now I got them, hell, when I could.
Yeah. I still have all those books too.
So do I. So
Yeah. But it would have been probably late 80s when I picked my first comic book up off a spinner rack at a 7-Eleven and was like actively like, I'm going to buy a comic book.
all right, that's cool.
Yeah, now look at you guys. You're getting all kinds of big shit. The fucking key market
Goals.
the way it is.
Yeah. Were you guys collecting like the same titles back then? Like, was everybody kind of just collecting the main titles, or was it kind of like nowadays where there's so many like different things to collect that somebody you know would be collecting this as opposed to?
Yeah, well, the first book I bought was a Web of Spider-Man. So Spider-Man as a character was something that I like sought out, but Batman, obviously. But I don't think I was thinking of collecting in the same sense that I do now. Like I was collecting because I was collecting to read titles, but now I collect for some of that, but mostly just for the hobby and maybe some like monetary future speculation. I don't know, just whatever.
All right. Now I think I collected, like you just said, to read. I was an avid reader. I loved the stories. Loved the stories and art. I just loved it. Now, again, same thing. It's I read when I can, but just to collect the keys and again, for value down the road. I don't think I'll ever sell mine. Well, I shouldn't say never. If the price is right, I'll sell every one of them right now. But
Yeah, right.
I'm the same way.
Yeah, that's the problem with like thinking you're collecting for some sort of future monetary cash in, because I don't think I could ever let go of I have a hard time letting go of like shitty dollar books.
we're brothers from different mothers. I'm the same way. The wife's always yelling at me, when are you going to sell that box over there? I don't know. One day.
From what I know, you got a hard time buying shitty dollar books too. This thing's beat. Can you take any off?
Come on, man, $2.
Hilarious.
Give them what they deserve.
Listen, if you're not haggling constantly at the comic shops, then what are you doing?
Do you feel like that's kind of gone away?
I think retailers are trying to move away from that personally, just because I think comics is probably not their biggest like money makers. So it's like all the peripheral games and Funkos and shit like that. So I think they're less inclined to like just focus on comics as like a thing that they deal in.
Which is crazy because I feel like it would have the most variable because it's kind of like a stock as opposed to like something that's like heavily manufactured and they're all in the same condition.
Yeah. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I don't know. I'm torn on that one. If you look at, I think I just seen a study not too long ago, the top 10 dying hobbies that are worth nothing anymore. And I think number 10 was comic books. You get these new comics, there is no value in them anymore, unless you get something that's down the road turns into something crazy, but there's no value in it. And what's the price of an average book now? What, $5? So I think these shops, they have to rely on those stupid ass Funkos and everything else just to try to turn a buck.
Yeah.
I mean, personally, that's what I feel.
I feel like you almost have to know a guy to get good deals on books now. Like you can't just go into the store and get 20% of them.
Well, I think the market has shifted from retail to like online, like social media platforms, like Whatnot and shit like that. Like folks who are just dealing strictly and selling comic books. You're looking contemplative, Andrew.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's got to be tough. I mean, how many people even need a shop anymore? Like you said, with all the online stuff anymore, like the overhead and the slim margins on the books nowadays. Some of these guys can't afford to take a deal anymore, you know, with how high things have been. They're probably losing their ass right now if they're relatively new sellers. So that's probably a bit of why, you know, it's harder to get a good deal. But we all know guys, so we don't really have that problem.
Right.
You know, we all have our spots or, you know, stores that we frequent and they tend to work with us. So, you know, I guess out of sight, out of mind for me. I don't really care about who's losing when I'm winning.
Yeah, true that. Yeah, true that.
Spoken like a true gentleman. You know, that's the thing about the asking for a couple bucks off a $10 beater reader is like he's just gonna sit on it. And the same thing happened actually at the place where I get my pull recently, where I went through $200 back. It was like, I don't know, like $260 would have been the retail price on some Namor back issues, like Submariner shit. Like nobody's buying that, right?
True.
These like $5, $10, $15 comics. And so if I'm gonna go up there with nearly $300 and like back issues that just sit in your room, like I expect between 10 and 20%.
Kind of makes sense. I mean, they're just gathering dust anyways. Do they want the money or not?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I disagree. That's 25%. Stop it.
Right?
No, because you're absolutely right. I mean, if they're sitting there, they're not making anyone money. So why not just unload them? Make room for something else.
Yeah.
It's Namor anyways.
Right.
This feels like Shark Tank.
Well, I'm King Shark. Well, the thing too about my LCS not doing that, even though I get a weekly pull, is that literally it was up against Black Friday, and then they sent me an email after they said no, saying all books $50 and under 20%.
Oh,
What the hell?
Like, you fucking bad. I brought it up to the manager too. I was fucking pissed.
Bring your receipt back.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't sell them to me. That was the thing that was shitty about
Damn.
a bunch of shit right there.
it. Anyway, I got to start scoping these antique stores and ripping them off like Andrew.
Yeah. They're ripping themselves off. I'm not even haggling. I'm just finding good shit.
Tell you what, those antiques, some of them, there are no joke. You go in there, there'll be a box of comics just sitting there. They'll be sitting there for years. No one goes through them. They'll have a price they based on it 3 years ago. They don't go back in there to, recheck them, get them for nothing,
This guy seems to go to like local shows though and like restock the antique store, but then take like all the bad books to like the shows and then just buy like good books for the antique store. I don't fucking get the cycle, but every time I go to that, like I feel bad because that guy rules. Like he's nice. I bought like a Poison Ivy off him, but like I see him at one of the local shows where it's small, and it's like I try not to make eye contact as I shuffle past his.
He's a guy with black hair, right?
I don't remember. He has glasses.
That's I know. I've known that guy for years.
Yeah, but like when you go to like his booth, like it's like huddled in the corner, and he's like, it's just I'm like, I'm sorry, buddy. Like I don't want to like make eye contact, so then he starts trying to sell me because then I gotta awkwardly be like, I'm not interested. You don't got anything for me, guy.
Thanks, but no thanks.
Like I'll see you at the antique store.
Yeah. Oh, that's him. I know that guy.
You know everybody around here.
Well, it's just I've been doing this for so long, and the selling at shows. I mean, you know, it's the same people. It's the same group of people. You just wind up knowing almost everyone, you know, in some way, shape, or fashion. And that could be a good thing or a bad thing.
Yeah.
And all the people I pissed off over the years.
Right. Yeah. There's some places I'm embarrassed to show back.
I wear a Groucho mask, you know, just got a big mustache and glasses. Who is that guy? I don't know.
I had to do that the other day just to get some supplies. That's another thing. I feel like when I go into shops, I see everything comic related except bags and boards.
Bags and boards.
Yeah, and they've been saying that they've been like short on those for like 3 years now, like ever since the pandemic.
Yeah.
And it's like you're telling me you haven't caught up yet. Yeah. We can't get like backing boards anymore. You don't have Silver Age Mylars.
That's what I'm saying. They're like phasing out that side of their business, right? Like the comic shit. Because it doesn't move, right? Like unless you actively are collecting at the level that we are, who's buying bags and boards? Right? And don't even 100%. Ask about my lights.
Yeah. I mean, how many young people do you really see in there going through back issues, really?
None. It's all us nerds.
Yeah.
It's the same crowd going through them.
Well, at the biggest comic book store in Ann Arbor, which is where I get my pull, they told me that it was me and one other guy who literally ever look at any of their like back issues, keys, minor keys, any of that stuff.
Oh, damn.
Damn.
Well, I mean, to be fair, if the store you're talking about, like when I used to go there, they didn't have a back issue selection to speak of. It seems like that's changed recently, but I'm never in the area to scope it out. But I've heard you two have good deals out there now. But I remember back in the day, it's like you go out there and it's like you were lucky to find a Shazam 1 from like the Bronze Age as like a key issue there. Like there wasn't shit.
Yeah. They're gradually getting better wall books. Probably because they're getting in more money now.
Yeah. Anyway.
Now it's, yeah, man.
No, not really, bro. Shut up.
Went from one shopper to two.
Right. Well, let's talk some comics.
Yeah. Any good purchases lately?
Oh boy.
Yep. Get into it.
I got this honey hole. I visit every now and then. It's kind of a drive, about an hour drive, and it's just the dumpiest flea market you can imagine. You just as soon as you get out, you want to get a tetanus shot. But we went in there, and I tell you what, they had some really, really good deals, and had all their keys were half off. Then they had minor keys, and I can't tell you that we were there for about an hour and a half, and the wife was starting to get pissed. I could just see it in her eyes. So I'm going through this a $15 box. Everything in this is $15. So I'm going through them and I said, holy shit, I don't think this is supposed to be in here. So first appearance of Mandarin, first appearance of Pepper Potts and
Happy Hogan.
Happy Hogan. And I said, man, these should not be in here. I mean, they're not the best.
15
I mean, like I said, they weren't the best. So my wife, she had picked up a couple Funko Pops and she put them on the counter. So it's like, shit, I'm going to go throw these on the counter before they catch on. These aren't supposed to be in this box. Throw them up on the counter. And I must have went through, about $100 worth of books. Then I get up there and like you, Juan, well, this is this. I tell you what, I'll give you 120 for this and all the Funko Pops. Yeah, okay, no problem. Just not a second thought. And I walked out. There was some nice books, man, real nice books. I said, one day I'll take all you guys out there. You'll love it. But get your tetanus shots prior.
Right. No, that's fucking actually. What is it? Is it Tales of Suspense?
Yep.
Was it 40?
49, I think. I brought it here so Andrew could see it. But yeah, those were both in there. And just some stupid keys. I got the first appearance of White Vision, West Coast Avengers, just some silly stuff. But hell, for the prices, why would I not pick them up? And then they were just in such a good condition. And I'm a sucker for clean books. I'm just an ass about it. So it's just, why not?
Last time I talked to you, you mentioned collecting G.I. Joe.
Yeah.
Now that's going to start coming through Skybound. So that's a little more modern. But are you going to be picking up any of that stuff like Duke, Cobra Commander?
I'm an ass for G.I. Joe, so probably. I don't know. I'm torn. As far as the books go, I've got the whole run. I've got all the special mission. I've got all that stuff. I'm still actively collecting the books that come out now. But I don't know. I'm just an ass for G.I. Joe. I'll probably pick it up. I know I shouldn't, but I probably will.
That's cool.
Yo, Joe.
Right. I was always more of a Cobra commander.
Well, I got the Cobra insignia on my arm tattooed. So, yes, I'm
Nice.
pretty much Cobra myself. So,
There you go. That's cool.
The terrorist organization that
Right.
started as a pyramid scheme.
yeah, that's all it was. It was a pyramid scheme.
It's so
Was
cool.
he like a
Cobra
used
Commander
car
was a used
salesman?
car salesman.
Yeah.
So,
Oh my gosh, he was the original Negan.
yeah, pretty much. What about you, Juan? Any good pickups?
Oh yeah, this was the year. This was my biggest year ever, which is saying a lot. Okay, so most recently picked up an ASM 50 last night. Oh, was it last night?
Yeah.
Okay. So that was a big book, but a few weeks ago I picked up a Daredevil 1,
Wow.
which is awesome.
Damn.
A pretty big book. And then about a month and a half ago, I picked up an Amazing Fantasy 15.
I hate you.
Slabbed 1-0, but it's my 1-0. And
Wow.
yeah. I never the Amazing Fantasy was total fluke. Walked into a store that I don't frequent very often and asked if they had any keys, and he's like, well, how about Amazing Fantasy 15? And I was like, no way.
Yeah,
And
I said, hey, some keys, not the key.
right, the key, and worked out a cash deal and left home with it the same day that it came back from CGC to their store. So
Damn, congrats, man. That's a hell of a book there.
thank you. It's a little bit surreal because I honestly wasn't looking for it, didn't think I'd ever have a copy, and then to get the other two books that I mentioned was just like, I can't, like, it's unbelievable. The 2023 is the best year I've had in comics.
Yeah, it's because those prices are getting better
Yep.
Yeah.
for sure.
Hey,
How
I
about
told you about a year ago. I said, watch, these prices are gonna start coming down. And
Yeah.
we haven't seen the end of it. I'm giving another 6 months to a year, they're gonna drop even more before anything even remotely tries to rebound.
Works for me.
I hope so.
No, it is. I've seen this before. I just don't think I've seen it this bad. Everything was so overinflated at one point where you couldn't pick up anything.
No.
Now everything's coming down to where it should have been, and it will get worse. No one's got disposable income anymore. No one's buying that stuff, and it's just gonna be left for us few people like us to pick that stuff up. I'm telling you.
Seriously, embarrassingly enough, like I paid like 400 for like a 4.0 issue 1 of Submariner during the pandemic. Went to a shop with Juan the other day and they had a 7.5 for like 300.
Yeah.
Different.
Yep. Nope. And like I said, I don't see it changing anytime soon. I just don't, because it's not just because I buy and sell toys too, and buy collections and whatnot. And it's the same thing in the toy market right now. It's the same damn thing.
Yeah, and I think like people are getting tired of like the MCU stuff. Like I don't think that's as important for book prices as it was the past few years. I feel like people are getting burnt out, and so they're just like, whatever.
Especially with them pumping out lately. It's a bunch of ass shit.
Well put. It's a bunch of ass shit.
Do you think people are sick of the superhero movies, or you think people are just sick of bad movies?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think they
Both.
oversaturate the market with superhero movies, and everyone's just, you know what? I need a break. I need some crazy ass horror film, and just to tide me over until something actually good comes around.
They're coming out with like a fucking dozen series each year, and like none of them like go anywhere or like make sense. They're just kind of shitting them out.
It's a bunch of incoherent crap is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I don't keep up with any of it anymore, to be honest. And there's no MCU movies I'm looking forward to, as far as I know. Like the spectacle of it's gone. I don't feel like there's anything to look forward to.
Yeah.
Like I'm looking forward to the DC reboot stuff, and I don't even know.
I guess that's kind of what I was thinking, because I feel like there's a chance to kind of redeem that stuff. I feel like it feels like a side effect of like superhero stuff, but I feel like they're still saving that if you just take it a different direction than kind of like what we're used to with Marvel. I feel like if you didn't do so much of like a blockbuster approach to it and kind of gave it its own like maybe more independent vibe, I think the stories could be interesting.
Well, I think the point's already been made that like the contemporary stuff isn't worth anything. It's mostly shit anyway. And so like those people who collect regardless of the MCUs or the DC universe, right? Like us, the junkies, it'll be better for us, but also like there are going to be evergreen titles and books right? Any of the ASM stuff.
Yeah.
Like any of the Batman keys, any of the Superman keys, like the big book, the books that have always been big with collectors, right? And so I think we're just seeing, like Andrew suggested, like a shift away from the larger culture embracing all of this stuff, right? Unless it's a first appearance Dazzler and you're a Taylor Swift fan.
Yeah,
True.
no, I agree.
Yeah.
Nope, I agree.
What other questions you
Burger.
It put me on the spot, man.
got?
Been a little quiet over there.
I was just zoning out. I thought I heard something upstairs. They're gonna take all my books.
Right.
They want my West Coast Avengers. They're not getting that. I'll fight for it.
Bastards. Well, I got a few books yesterday too. If we're gonna recap some books, I got a first Silver Age Plastic Man for like $40, which I thought was sweet. That's something I'd been after, was looking at on eBay, and then for it to just be one of the only like new key books at the antique store, I was like, for sure. King Shark, which apparently I could have ignored and just asked you for.
You could have, but
But I thought it was a relatively good deal, so picked that up. And then when Juan got his first appearance at Kingpin, I got a second appearance of Dr. Octopus in Spider-Man issue 11. So pretty excited to have that. Not pumped to spend a lot of money since I went to 2 different shops yesterday and spent too much, but I am also now thinking about the issue 12 that they still have, so that way I'll have 3 through 13. So I'm gonna leave it up to fate, see if it's there on Tuesday, and I might seal the deal if it's still there.
You'll quit thinking about the purchase cost of issue 11 when you get issue 12.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So
When you
I'll
move
probably,
on to the next thing,
was 12 reasonably priced?
yeah, it was in the 200 to 300 range, somewhere in there. I forget the exact amount, but like relative to the condition, fair pricing.
Yeah. Well, that 11 looked really crisp. I don't know, it looked good.
The 11's nice.
no, it's real nice. It's
It's one of my nicer spider keys for whatever reason.
That thing's beautiful.
Yeah, so I'm pumped to have it. It's clean. But I'm like I said, I'm looking for the 12, still waiting for stuff to pop up online for a fucking manga. Waiting for the Japanese to email me so I can lock in and get that. But other than that, I need to relax because it's been a like big year for me as well. As got married this year, I was like, can't buy books this year. I'm getting married. That didn't stop me. I probably went harder than I had last year because like if I had to make a top 9, it'd have to be like a top 18 at this point. Like that's how many damn books I got.
Damn.
So like it's been a great year for books. I mean,
slowed
hopefully
me
next
down.
year's- What?
Collecting, the
Yeah.
wedding, house.
Yeah.
Life.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Get it while you can. When the deals are there, get them.
Yeah. No,
Well,
for
that's
sure.
how I look at it.
Yeah.
If you stick to like just going to shops, I feel like you're way less likely to spend a bunch of money too.
Yeah. I
Only
was
get
on
it when
eBay too
deals are
much.
good instead of, just going to eBay when you want to find something specifically. Because when you want to find something specifically, it's always the most expensive. too.
Right.
Something reminded you to get that book.
Yeah.
So,
Plus, you got all the shipping and everything else too with that involved in that. Then you got to wait. Is it going to come in the condition they said it is?
Right.
I still like to hunt. I still like to go out there and physically try to find them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I totally agree. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just saying I just find myself frequenting less shops nowadays. Like I just go to the same one up at the corner every week.
Well, how many shops are there anymore? I mean, there's so few and far between. Decent shops.
That's true.
Like I said, it's like I said before. It's not like it used to be years ago. It used to be shops in every damn corner. It's just not the same.
No. And it's just, I don't know. Some of the shops, it's just like you take the hike out there and it's like half the time that they're not going to have something you want. Or if they do, it's just going to be like 1.5 times market price. And
Yeah.
it's just like, well, why did I waste the trip?
Yeah.
So I just get discouraged from going further than like 10 minutes down the road anymore. I just do like a little block almost.
One big circle. I'm done. I'll
Yeah.
stop at Baskin Robbins. I'm done for the day.
I mean, granted, your local shop though, Burger, is the one that is just the best, hands down. Of
It really is.
It's no joke.
Yeah.
It's no joke.
And they're like hitting their stride again because all year and hell, even like last year, they restock like every week. They have a new like
Yeah.
legitimate collection. And it's hard not to leave with like hell, even like $80 worth of books like almost every weekend.
Yeah.
And it's just like if you're not doing anything, why wouldn't I drive 5 minutes up the road and go bother the shop for like an hour and a half? It's
that's true. Even out of state, I feel like your LCS is It's up
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, I was the one that I'd say like came second close was that one in Florida from my honeymoon. Like
Florida, yeah.
they had legit, I don't know if I told you, like 2 walls like a convention.
Wow.
Like just everything you could imagine. Like I had to leave behind a Rip Hunter, Batman 608 second print slab. They had like
Wow.
everything. I got my Kang the Conqueror there, but like everything else there was just nuts.
Yeah.
We'll talk offline.
Yeah.
But no, they're legit. Like, but it's hard to find shops like them or the one up at the corner that, you know, have a constantly good selection and like of things you want, because most places like you just find like Detective Comics, like Night Quest runs and stuff like, or Nightfall, Night Quest into Nightfall. It's like, oh Christ, like how many different like Bane covers and you know,
West Coast Avengers 45. They're all over the place.
yeah. So that's just the first appearance of Anarchy. Like it's like, okay, great. Like that's a whole, that's like every comic shop down in that area too. It was so annoying.
Now there's a nice one just not too far from my dad's place, just outside of Knoxville, Tennessee. That's a decent place too. Every time I go there, try to stop in that place. It's decent.
Yeah. Anytime I'm traveling, I try to check out the local places just to
do the same damn thing. I'll make it a point to find a place and stop. Even if it's just 10 minutes, just go in there and check it out. You never know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I did on my honeymoon. I was like, hey, we're in the area. There's like 20 of them. I was like, well, let's just hit up like 5.
Yeah.
4 of them were terrible though.
I bet she had a great time on the honeymoon.
Sure did. We both did. You know, you drive around, you go to like the worst comic shops imaginable. You walk in, walk right back out. You take her to Raising Cane's, feed her some chicken tenders, and then you're good for some more comic shopping.
Right. Well, good point, because there are plenty of shops that I will just walk in and walk right the fuck out, because I can tell right off the bat it's just like a no-go.
Too much.
What else you got on the docket? Joe, questions?
Yeah, Joe.
Yeah, Joe.
Yo, Joe.
I was talking to your wife as I was setting up down here. If you could tell a new collector, like give them guidance as to like one thing to invest in to start out with comics, where would you lead them?
Oh, gee, I wonder. Is the answer not collectively Spider-Man?
It's Spider-Man.
Yeah, it's Spider-Man, hands down.
It's Spooderman.
Yeah.
Or don't collect and save your money.
Yeah, honestly.
You telling them to get like a minor key? You telling them to start like picking up a pull on Spider-Man?
No.
I would tell them to get Venom ASM 300.
So somebody who's just starting out?
Well, what's their goals?
Yeah, what are they trying to get? What are they doing it for?
Like trying to get into the hobby.
Are we just telling them what to do?
No, like I guess like for example, like
buy this book, damn it.
You got me started on collecting, right? Like we went to a shop, we bought like the first 4 issues of whatever was current at that time.
Yeah.
And then I think we followed up with like going to a con and getting like a small key. And then from there it was like me being self-sufficient.
Yeah. I don't know. My very first cons, the only reason I ever went was to get autographs.
Interesting.
My first con, I went for autographs and then haven't since. I don't know.
You did the
something
opposite.
about it. Something about it just doesn't do it for me. And I've also come to the conclusion, if I do get them moving forward, I want them like on the inside first page. I don't want them on the cover.
Well, back in the day, that's how they signed was on the inside. They never signed them on the outside.
Yeah. I like that. I prefer that because then I'm getting what I want if it's signed, you know. I don't know, because sometimes unless the book is perfect, it's hard to find a place for the signature. And even so, sometimes it's distracting from the actual cover.
Most of my books that are signed, I have double copies. So I have my untouched virgin copy and then one that were someone scribbled.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know what the hell that name is, but, you know.
Yeah.
I guess the placement of the signature doesn't bother me, but what bothers me is like shopping for a book and seeing a signature on it.
Oh,
like,
I automatically,
you know, like I'm ignoring that.
No, man, I'm just the opposite. I always
trust it.
I love when, well, I wouldn't actively buy an unslabbed signature that wasn't verified. But if I am in like, if I'm dollar bin diving and I find books that are signed that look like just some random ass shit, like the writer or the artist, like isn't like McFarlane or someone, right? Just like, and it's signed, and I was like, oh yeah, that's cool, right? But I have brought plenty of books to cons and gotten them signed and not verified, and I don't give a shit.
That's different when you did it yourself.
Yeah, you're physically there. Yeah, when I got Stan Lee's autograph, we got it certified just because literally, it was an assembly line. You got his signature, you said hi, and the certification was like right there. So, I mean, it was, but I know his signature now. So if I seen a book, I'd buy it just because I know what his signature is. And it's Stan Lee, for God's sakes.
What book did you get signed by him?
I didn't get a book. I got, there's an anniversary copy of Amazing Spider #1. It's in like this beautiful book. You open it up. It's pretty badass.
That's
I actually
cool.
got that signed versus a book.
That's
so
smart. Nice.
Yeah, actually, when my book that time I was afraid to get him signed. I was shaking. I was like, oh, I don't know if I want to sign. So I got that and signed instead. So
that makes more sense.
Yeah,
because I always see James O'Barr.
O'Barr, yeah.
And I wouldn't mind getting like one of my Crow books signed by him, but I'm like, they're his like 2 biggest books. I'm just like, I don't know if I could do it. So I need to find like a random.
To Andrew.
Yeah,
that happened to me.
XOXO
at that con where he finished that Wonder Woman sketch, and at the very last second, and he's like, "Who am I making this out to?" Man,
eBay, bitch.
To eBay. Still sick.
That was the greatest sketch ripoff ever.
Yeah, had that not been on there, or if I were able to like omit that in any way, I feel like that's a pretty expensive book.
Yeah.
That full sketch.
Yeah.
I don't really know what the market for something like that is, though. Like it's a blank variant where somebody who like
you got a full body one, so
sketch.
whatever like a pervert will pay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Can I get Power Girl? Can I get like 3 Power Girls on this?
Yeah.
That's not right.
Jesus.
A Power Girl Total Recall crossover where she has 3.
3 of them. Yeah.
Right.
That's multiverse.
Oh my god. It's that C variant we saw.
Nasty. Word.
Well, let me ask you this. So it's do you guys prefer big cons or small cons? I'm telling you what, I sell at big cons when I'm selling my silly gumball machines. I love the big con because it's a big con. There's going to be so much books to be had. However, they don't have the same appeal to me as the smaller shops because you're going to get a better deal at a smaller shop. The people are a little bit friendlier than the big cons. And that's how I view it. I mean, autographs or not, it's just, you just still got to go to a big con just to go to it.
They're not silly, Ted, but you're looking at it from the perspective of a
Thank
seller.
you. I appreciate that.
What about from a buyer?
It depends. It truly depends.
You're getting better access to books, but you're getting higher prices generally. But you go to a small con, you're getting more wiggle room.
You're getting a lot more wiggle room, especially if you know this guy that knows this guy that's Billy's roommate's uncle's nephew's friend he saw down the street. I mean, there's no telling what kind of deal you're going to pull, you know?
Yeah. Depends. Yeah. I prefer the cons that have the most Power Girl cosplayers.
I'm only going to cons with you, Juan. That's it. That's hands down.
Hey, Motor City has something similar to that. Joe and I know firsthand.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about.
Oh my God. We were just laughing about that earlier.
Yeah. But even back when I started collecting, I got a funny picture like that back in 2016?
Yeah, at the Cherry Con.
I want to go to Cherry Con.
Where's that at?
Traverse City.
We
were gonna go, and then the pandemic happened, so we never went.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we had the hotel lined up.
We could do that.
Yeah, should just do it next time.
Yeah, for sure. That's where Joe got his first
key issue.
Was that your Secret Wars?
Secret Wars 8.
Number 8. Nice.
Jazz hands.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he did that in my wedding photos.
Nice.
I did do that.
He hit the jazz hands.
Nice. Yeah. Well, I know because I'll be selling again at the Comic-Con at Motor City in the spring. I could probably get all you guys there. Just pick a day.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
So, yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, and get all you guys there. So just figure out what day, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So yeah, bring you guys right in the back door. No pun intended.
Whoa.
Pause.
How many out of state cons have you guys been to?
I haven't been to any.
Joe?
None.
Juan?
1 or 2. Because I lived in New England for almost 20 years. So
okay.
Yeah, I bought actually my Hulk 181 at a con in Massachusetts.
Nice. Yeah, I've been fortunate enough. I've been to it when Wizard World was doing them. We've been to Chicago, I think 4 times. Went to the Wizard World when it was in Nashville, Kentucky, or Nashville, Tennessee, rather. That was a pretty nice con. A little smaller, but it was there's some really good prices out of that con. So I've been to quite a few of them out of state.
Yeah, the New England ones are, I would consider, when we were talking about big versus little, I would consider those little cons because they'd just be like, your local comic dealer hosting a show at one of the like Marriott's or some shit. But sometimes like you get better access to Artist Alley at those smaller cons versus like 30 huge like wrestling superstars they have to fight through at like Motor City or something.
I guess one of the things I like about the bigger cons is that with the few small cons that I've been to, it seems like half of the vendors are still cash only, which is fine. But I feel like there's a little more flexibility that way because they know there's a lot of different people shopping that day at bigger cons. And then you do see the bigger books at the bigger cons, but I guess I'm not really in the market for a lot of that stuff anyways. And you can still see some pretty expensive keys at smaller cons. So I like that. I'd say I like smaller cons because it's cheaper entry usually. Usually it's free or like $5 or something.
Yeah.
And I'd be getting the same things that I'd be getting at a bigger con anyway.
Yeah, because we're not going for fucking Super Mario backpacks and fucking
Street boxes,
anime swords
yeah.
and shit like that. So if we're, I mean, like the Knights of Columbus that puts one on like every month or so. Yeah. That one's where it's at. I've gotten plenty of great keys there, but like you said, sometimes I don't bring enough cash and they're like cash only. So I'm just like, oh god damn it.
I will say that smaller cons kind of give more of a feel of like going to like a better local shop, like better than most. But I feel like bigger cons kind of feel more like an event. Like they kind of stick with me a little more.
Well, yeah, where else are you going to see like
that many people?
All the
it's
weirdos.
Like going to a ball game.
Yeah, for people watching, if nothing, I've seen I've seen things I never thought I'd see at like Motor City Comic Con. And like I love those people too because they don't even show up to look at anything. They just want to be seen.
They just want to be seen.
Yeah, like there's a guy who every year he dresses up as Ant-Man and carries around a giant inflatable joint. And that guy doesn't do anything else other than sweat and walk around.
It's like twice a year performance.
Honest to
you
God.
think he travels out of state?
Right.
No,
I hope not.
No, I don't think so. That's just Motor City only.
Packs up the Prius. He drives to Toledo. Let me reinflate it
in the parking lot, blowing that thing up. Well, I guess that's what obviously 3 days, selling my gumball machines and you're stuck there. You can't go. And the people watching is just phenomenal. I've gotten to the point now, I just bring a cooler in the back door. I'll pour my beer into a can and just sitting there and that's just, obviously it makes it a lot more enjoyable, but there's just, like you said, Joe, there's just, you don't forget them as much as the smaller shows just because it is an event. But what I really like about the big shows is if I'm filling in the gaps to some of my runs, man, I can get some really good deals that way. Now, the smaller shows, they'll have those. I don't think they have as much as the bigger shows do. But I think price per pound, you get some good deals at the smaller shows. Like, so I just did a show just before Thanksgiving, or just after Thanksgiving, rather, and the deals there to be had were just, phenomenal. It got to the point where 3 of the dealers there was a guy there that had a slab Daredevil #1. And this was just at an Elks Club, for Pete's sakes. They had some serious books there. Like I said, it got to a point where those guys were buying the other guys out, just buying all their merchandise.
You think it's because there's like more competition at a bigger con that you're more likely to get better deals on like filling in runs that way?
I think so, because there's so many people there with books of that nature, that, the $1 books, $3 books, $5 books. And they know there's so many people there that those particular books, smaller keys, you're going to get a good deal on them. Or the smaller shows, I feel you get a better deal on the bigger books versus the smaller books.
Yeah.
That's the trade-off.
That's a good point. The other thing I like about the big cons, I'm 95% there for like collecting and, hanging out with y'all. But the other 5%, like I've actually got to meet people from like the Smallville cast at the Comic-Con, and that's kind of cool too. You know,
Allison Mack.
No, but
find Joe in a shipping container.
Right.
But you want to see that at a small con, I guess.
No.
Yeah, we need to do a con. We need to do our own fucking like Elks Club or whatever.
That would be sweet.
There's a buddy of mine that does shows with me when we sell our toys and whatnot. We've been talking about that for years. We actually had it lined up. This is about 15 years ago or so. And we had it lined up. We had enough people. And when I was still in the UAW, we could have rented their hall out. And we came so close to doing it. And then obviously it just kind of fizzled out. But we came close to doing it, having our own show.
I'm serious. We should. I mean, there's tons of these little community centers you can probably rent out for the day, and we could just do like a one shot, like give it a try, and then if it's successful, maybe like run it again next year or something.
Oh, fuck that! I got 1.5 acres. We'll do it in my backyard in the summertime. Make sure it's a nice day. We'll try it that way. I got plenty of tables we'll set up.
Whose inventory are we selling? I don't got anything to part with right now.
Well, we just need to organize it, right? Like invite other like dealers.
I know I got a list of probably about 25 or 30 dealers.
So we're like pimps.
Pretty
Is that
much.
the situation?
And
None of us are.
They're the ones that make the money, though.
None of us are
You know
selling.
me?
I mean, I'd probably sell.
Come over here and sell for us. Kick a little back.
Is a little bit different about how Burger and I collect. Like as soon as I fill a short box full of stuff that I don't want anymore, like I get rid of it because I kind of fear having like that much stuff in my house.
Yeah.
I mean, we're sitting with 150 short box behind me.
Literally.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Just 150? That's not that much.
Right.
Feels like a lot. We gotta move on.
I'm like 220, something like that now, short boxes.
Jesus
Crazy.
Christ. I've got like 10. I'm like, oh,
Yeah, I got 10 and I feel capped.
Yeah.
But I know I got years ahead of me.
Yeah.
So I take that into consideration. So, and then usually you can get like a nice minor key when you ship back like a short box to your LCS.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Little store
It's like
credit or
selling at a
something.
loss almost, but
Yeah.
you get like a minor key out of the deal and you keep a short box.
Well, do you guys prefer selling them back to the local shops, or
Yeah.
have you ever tried doing it on your own?
I'm just lazy. I just give it to them. Because
Andrew,
well,
come on.
No, I'm
come
not giving them anything good. I promise you that. Like,
I don't care if you do. I'm just saying, come on.
no, like
Sell it one of these shows with me. Just sell it one.
No one will want them. They're dollar books. Like,
How do you don't know until you try?
I know because
for Pete's
everything
sakes.
I sell is something that I bought like 4 months prior for $4 a piece, and no one fucking wants it because the stores can't sell it. So I'm like, would you like some more? And they're like, sure. And then they take it off my hands. They're like, here you go, 25, $30 a short box. I'm like, works for me. And then I leave with something stupid. And then, I have a little bit more space and I got like a book.
Then the cycle resumes.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, fair
Yeah.
enough.
If I had 2 copies of every key issue I wanted, I would love to go just straight independent and just like put all these individually for sale and everything. But like when it comes to like a short box full of like just nothing, kind of like you were talking about, like I just send that back to the store because like the time investment versus like how much I would get out of it, like maybe I can make an extra $50, but I'll spend an extra 6 hours doing it and I make way more at my job making that much an hour than the time I would have put into making that extra 50. So that's kind of how I think
I get
about
it.
Yeah.
Wait, do you give them the boxes or do you ask for them?
Oh, you're dirty, dog.
That's not dirty.
That's
Boxes are
not dirty.
expensive.
No, I've been keeping the boxes.
Yeah, boxes are expensive.
Dump
Dump them out in a Myers bag and just give it to them.
Or
So
I
here
give
you
them,
go.
I give them the box that they.
Or Kroger's, whichever you prefer. I don't care.
Oh my gosh. Take this hefty bag of shit, would you?
Take them out of the bags and boards too.
Yeah, I gotta reuse these.
You just said there's a shortage on them.
Right,
That's what I'm
right.
going to do. Here literally is a bag of shit. Should have been a big question mark. Which one's the books and which one's shit? You choose.
Can you imagine spending an hour at the counter just taking them all out of the bag and boards at the point of sale?
Yes. It's that place in Lansing.
Hey.
You're like automatically banned from the store forever.
Yeah, that's
Got
like
your
paying
picture on the
for something in
paper.
all pennies. It's just spiteful.
It's not spiteful. It's being real, man. Come on.
I gotta preserve the little tape on it too.
Speaking of which, how do you guys feel about those resealable bags?
Hate
Oh, I
them.
hate 'em.
Garbage.
I hate
For
'em.
lazy
I hate-
motherfuckers.
I hate them, bro. Things are
Yeah.
dumb as hell.
I always feel so nervous pulling the comic book out of the bag, putting it in a real bag.
I'd rather have a tape pull on a cover than use those.
I just feel like you're gonna get like a tape pull in the form of waves as you like pull out the comic. I don't know. You know what? I actually bought a comic book the other day, and not only was it a resealable, but the person put tape on it too.
Tape on.
You're a monster.
Who does that?
Yeah.
Was this person not loved as a child?
Yeah. Kind of dude that puts 2 condoms on.
Right. It's like the eBay people who like put shipping tape all over the books.
Ah,
Man.
well, with that being said, I mean, pulled something off and screwed up one of your own books doing that by accident.
Yeah.
Luckily, I haven't.
You haven't?
Not that I'm aware of. No.
Wait, have you never ruined a book you've owned?
No. Well, we can always go back to the Brainiac thing and me not knowing what happened to it, but never that
A
I've
go
chunk of
back
it
to
just
that
went
again.
missing.
yeah, nothing that I've ever witnessed. Like I've never tape pulled one of my own books and like stared down and be like, "Oh shit."
What about
No.
drop it right on its corner? I did that with a brand new like variant a few years ago and just trashed it immediately right
Ah.
out the door with the LCS.
I had an ex-girlfriend that had my comic books in the back of her car, and she was just taking that thing for a joyride. And when the car came back, all the comics were out of like the bag that they send you home with from the store, and it's like got dirt on the cover and stuff.
A random French fry on them.
It was modern though, and it wasn't anything big. So
It was a Star Wars issue 1 when it came back to Marvel. It had a white cover.
yeah,
Yeah. Although I have bought old dollar books that have like dried food.
the hell?
Yeah. Enjoy some spaghetti while you're reading your comic, I guess.
That's
you'd have
gross.
to pay me for that book.
All right.
That's just not right.
Hmm.
What was your what was the best convention you've ever been at? Where you're like, man, I wish I could just go back.
That first Cherry Con with the cosplay. and books that were like $40-$50 versus $250, $300. They had a pretty cool R2D2 too. So
I don't know. It'd be between that and Motor City.
Yeah.
we had those sweet
But-
Finch sketches
Yeah, that was pretty unique.
that we didn't pay for.
Yeah. What about you, Ted?
Wow, I want to go back. It's one of the first cons I ever went to, which was it still rings true to me just as the best, was in Dearborn, the Dearborn Performing Arts Theater
Mm.
back in the Dauphin, Michigan Avenue. They had a con there. It was, I think, the first time Todd McFarlane was in Michigan. That's right when all those heavy hitters had left Marvel and went over to Image. So they were like all at this convention, and it was just chaos in there. Books were just flying everywhere. It was amazing. I'll never forget that particular show. And it wasn't terribly big. It wasn't small either. It wasn't like a small con, but it was just amazing. Just everyone that was there. It was utterly amazing. Yeah, I'll never forget that show. But I mean, Christ, that was, when did that happen? Early 90s or something like that? 993, something like that.
Yeah.
It was just amazing show.
Yeah. If it was like the Image guys like Jim Lee and
Yeah, was there somebody that you kind of gravitated towards at that show, or like something that was most memorable there for you?
Probably meeting McFarlane.
Yeah.
Because at the time, I mean, obviously what he did for Spider-Man for me, with the eyes for Spider-Man was just, it seems so funny now. was just revolutionary at the time. And he's drawing Spider-Man's eyes, and they're huge. They're bulging out of his head. And then seeing him in person, I think for the first time, being younger, I was in awe. I was starstruck, if you will. It was pretty amazing. Yeah, I'll never forget it.
Todd's Father. Cool. That's pretty hard to top.
Yeah, I've always been attracted to like his books, like with Spider-Man, but Hulk too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. I do have a question for you too, actually. So I was in New York this last fall, and I was looking at like best place, like comic book places to visit while I was in the area. And there was this place that I found, and they had a picture from like maybe like the late 80s, early 90s. And they had all these really sweet, what would be considered now grails, like issue 1 of Spider-Man on the wall, and like probably issue 1 of Fantastic Four, stuff like that. Now you don't kind of see those keys at stores because of how expensive they are. Usually you see it at a con. I guess when you guys started collecting, like, what did the wall books look like?
Wow. I wouldn't say like they are now. Obviously, there was heavy books on the walls.
And what were the prices like too?
Everything was down. Everything was. It's funny you say affordable, but back then when you were younger, I mean, when I was younger, it was expensive.
Yeah.
Even though it was only, let's say, I don't know, $500, $600 over the prices. When you're that young, oh yeah, it's expensive. But looking at it now, no, that shit was cheap. I wish I would have bought every damn one that I could have. Yeah, it's just different times,
Do you guys have examples of like things that would have been on the wall when you guys were like collecting?
Well, I remember my first wall books were the Frank Miller Wolverine limited series.
Okay.
1 through 4. Those were the first books that I noticed on the wall that felt like attainable, right? Like to your point, like it wouldn't have mattered if FF1 was, 500 or 5,000 at the time. It wouldn't made much difference to me. But I remember those Wolverine books, and I didn't even have the money to get them myself. I had to ask for them as a Christmas present.
No, he's absolutely correct. That's just how it was. It's like you said, the first Poison Ivy or what those books would have been there, but you're looking at what can I potentially afford, and would have been those particular books. Like I said, it's just different times, That's what everyone says. Well, why couldn't you got it? It was so much cheaper back then. Yeah, it was cheaper, but not what my wallet said. It's the same theory.
Because one of my first ever memories, it was before I started collecting comics, but I went to like a card shop and they had a comic, and they only had a few like in the glass shelf, but I remember seeing like a first appearance Wolverine there, and this was like maybe like 2008, 2009, and it was like $500, and I thought, like, who the hell would spend $500 on a comic?
On that book? Yeah.
Yeah. And now, like, the stuff that I see on walls collecting 10 years ago, I probably could have got in the dollar, not the dollar bins, but like, for like $5-10. Now they're like kind of like $50 to $75 books. It's kind of interesting, even over the course of like 10 to 15 years, kind of see the transition of like what people put on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
Like Burger, you got a Miles Morales for like what, $5-10 like a few years ago, and now it's
hundreds.
Yeah
that would be a wall book now.
Oh yeah.
Well, shit, I paid almost $4 for mine recently, something like that. Raw. I got raw dogged.
Chili dog.
See, I prefer almost. I can't. It's as much as I like graded. I mean, they look nice. You can display them. They're cool. I want them raw. That whole grading thing it's cool. Like I said, I've just brought a couple over for Andrew to check out. I mean, I like them when I can get them, but I prefer them raw. It's just the smell to actually open them up and check them out, versus some slab.
I don't mind purchasing them slabbed at all, but I break every single one out regardless of the grade. I keep it just so I know like what a panel would, give it. But like, I'm not selling it. This is for me. And so in that sense, it's just like,
you're just fucking over your future relatives. They have no idea.
They would never be as appreciative as me in the first place. But yeah, to your point, like I don't want my comic book in a bunch of plastic where you can't ever open it if you wanted to, or know what's in the pages or see it.
Yeah, what to your point, you just said earlier, a panel. I want to know who these guys are that judge this book. Does one guy go home and just divorce his wife and he's pissed off at the world? and some
100%.
other guy, you
Or
know, it's
totally
just-
geeked.
Yeah, exactly. I just, who are these people that graded this? I've heard so many horror stories about, yeah, I had this book grade. It was beautiful. It come back as a 7.5. I took it out of the slab, resubmitted, and it come back as a 9.2. I just see them all the time. You know, who are these people? Who judge these people? Who put them on these pedals and say, hey, come grade these books, you know?
They were not elected. We demand their names.
I want their address. I don't know everything
addresses.
about these guys.
Addresses.
And or girls, whatever. Just horrible.
Where these motherfuckers live.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although I have to say there are certain books that I own, like the AF-15, that if it wasn't already slabbed, I would have to have it slabbed because it's just like too valuable.
Makes sense.
But with that being said, so would you feel comfortable enough if it wasn't slabbed to actually put it in the mail to get it slabbed?
No, I would go to a convention and submit it physically.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Or you'd have to like fly down there with it and like make an
Yeah.
appointment.
Yeah, that book in particular, but I guess it would depend. When I was in Vermont, I had an LCS, and the guy, he and I were simpatico, so I would have trusted him to send something off for me. But otherwise, no.
Yeah, I'm with you. There's just no way I could Joe Blow the mailman, and then I just couldn't do it. There's no way.
Would you trust that guy that we at the comic store yesterday? Would you trust him to send it off for you?
Not unless he gives me $2 off my $10 book. Like
No way.
Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't trust that guy to do anything.
That
really.
dude was missing teeth, let alone missing my comic
He
book.
could barely handle the register, let alone the book.
That's too much.
No, I like to have an idea of what it's worth because it does depend on, the condition, but the grade doesn't mean anything to me.
Yeah, I can see
you
that.
can tell when a book's clean or when it's not clean.
All I want is it to be complete and attached anyways.
Yeah, pretty low standards, but not really.
Yeah. How do you feel about like writing from, I don't know, gold and silver age books that have like kids' names on them, or
Depends where and how
Yeah,
big.
it depends on where for me.
But yeah, I
Depends
have
on their
plenty of
name.
books.
right on
Hey,
the
yeah.
superhero's face?
No, yeah.
Under the goatee that they also drew.
Assuming it's not in like a really distracting place, I would prefer like some handwriting over like a stamp.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't mind. I bought a collection that had a lot of purple stars because for whatever reason that's what that like vendor used to mark his books. So
What was he from Auschwitz?
Yeah, no kidding.
Zip
Yeah.
papers.
it was like some U.S. military base in Germany or some shit. I don't know.
Oh,
Good God.
Jeez.
Man,
I've seen some stuff.
a bunch of comic books standing in line waiting to get stamps.
He's only got copies of Baron Zemo and the Hate Monger.
Yeah. What's the common trend? I don't know.
And a bunch of Wonder Woman bondage.
The hate monger.
What a crazy character.
Don't get me started on some of those characters. Oh, good
It's like
God.
he's like the ghost of Hitler, like in a robot or something. It makes no sense. So crazy.
I've often wondered about those poor guys back in the beginning of the industry. I mean, they had to follow everything to know what to put in the next issue and chronological everything, and the first appearance of this and the first appearance of that. Like, we're like male people that just we're gonna have you and start categorizing everything to make sure everything follows. I mean, there was no computers, they didn't have stores like that, so who were these people to keep everything in order?
Right, like editorial, like who the hell had the logs of who appeared when and
Yeah,
why?
exactly. Why? The first adamantium, I mean, just all this stuff, just to have it in order. I've always wondered about that. Like, who were those people? They never got no credit for nothing.
No,
Well, I wonder if they were using file copies, right, to like reference stuff.
they
don't know.
must have been. I
Yeah,
guess,
it had to have been.
but still,
Or
it seems like a pain in the
the-
ass.
Or like the original like storyboard art or some shit. I don't know.
Like you gotta
I
go
do
back and
know
like
that-
reread it though.
Well, I know for sure that fans also would write in and be like, "Yo, you like fucked up issue 2."
Yeah, in the back of the bullpen. Yeah, that's not how it goes.
It could never be easy, but I figure it's probably like a short or a small group of people working on this stuff too. like I feel like Infantino, Kane, like all these names pop up all the time when it comes to like important continuity stuff for like DC.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to call him on it. I'm not that knowledgeable.
Because I can't sleep at night sometimes thinking about it. It just bothers me. I want to know these people too. What are their names? Well, they're probably dead. They're probably dead by now, but
no, for sure.
I want to know
same
them.
people that grade.
All right. I want to know who their grandchildren are. Goddamn it!
It's a secret society.
Sons of bitches.
Wow, we just spun off into some hate.
Sorry.
No, it's all good. We turned into the hate monger.
Well,
shoot. How about we call her there, boys?
We good?
Yeah.
Sounds good.
I'm thankful we could all get together, though. Appreciate you guys coming on our 92nd episode. Yeah.
No, I appreciate, like you said, I love you guys, man. I love this stuff. It's nice to have people to talk about this. As I said, man, my list of people that are into comic books and stuff like this for me are few and far between, man. So no, I love it. Anytime. Seriously, anytime. I love it.
Yeah, we'll have to do it again.
Pick a title or a story to like go into.
Review.
Yeah, for next time.
Story of Hate Monger. Bring up his origin.
Yeah, that'd be cool. And Merry Christmas to the listeners, because I think this is our last episode coming out before the end of the year.
Oh, awesome.
Nice. Well,
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
All right. Happy holidays.
All right. Well, you want to wrap it in a bow burger?
Yeah, and before we let you go, make sure to check us out on @CBJ Pod on Instagram if you want to keep up with us, see what we're reading, what we're posting about, any new pickups, stuff like that. Rate, review, subscribe, stuff like that. The typical BS. We appreciate if you do it. If you don't, no biggie. We appreciate you listening regardless. Other than that, make sure to give Ted a follow. That's @Ted's Custom Gumballs.
Yeah, Ted's Custom Gumball Emporium, and just look up Ted's Custom Gumballs.
Yeah, you'll find
my
them.
Balls are there. You'll find them.
Any shouts out you want to give, Juan?
No, just to y'all. Thanks for having me on again. Look forward to coming back again and maybe, like I said, doing something in depth on a story.
Story. We got a con lined up and a trade show. So
cool.
Sweet.
With that, that's our episode.
Later, everybody.
All right, guys. Later.
See you.